Hi there. It gives me great pleasure to be sitting here with two absolute legends. Francie Conway, world-renowned musician, singer, songwriter, producer, and of course his son Rory, fantastic singer. So Francie and
Rory made his reputation during the lockdown.
Oh yeah, I was watching you all through COVID, and the stuff you were putting out was amazing.
And you know, that all happened by accident.
Really?
Yeah, because Pete St. John and I wrote a song together called Self-Isolation Blues.
Oh.
And like, blues wasn't ever a kind of a genre of music that Pete would have been delving into, so I was able to kind of get into it a little bit more. And then I wanted to send it over to Pete so he could hear the song. So I thought the best thing to do is just put on and video the song, and then Pete can play it in his phone. And then I thought, I'll bring Rory in with me, because that'll save Pete calling me back to ask how Rory is doing.
Yes, yeah.
So then we sent off the video of the song to Pete, and then I got a call about 4 or 5 days later from some paper asking me about this video that had gone all over the place. And I was going, sorry, what are you talking about? Pete had shared it. And it went from Pete to somebody else, and it just went all over. Next thing, this fella was everywhere. And then I thought, how cool for Pete and I that we've actually launched, and now within the community of Enable Ireland and special needs all over the country, he's known as the singer from Enable Ireland. Isn't that cool?
No better man.
Yeah, no better man is right.
He's a beautiful voice.
And he's been on loads of things since. Yeah. And the video we did for Somewhere in Heaven with Christy Dignam, who was sitting beside Christy, this fella, of course, had to be there again.
Good man, Rory.
But sorry, we got sidetracked
No,
there. You were asking me about...
Can you just tell me what Ballyfermot means to you, Francie?
Well, you see, Ballyfermot is not only just a place, it's a state of mind.
Okay.
Are you with me?
Yes.
Because Ballyfermot crept into my life. I mean, you could imagine I was like 15, 16 years of age, playing with a rock band down in Kerry, the first band ever to play original material. And we were booked for the Rose of Tralee and Festival, and there was a folk group coming from Dublin, also playing that year at the festival. So on this, we were booked for 2 nights, and the folk group from Dublin were booked for 2 nights. So one of the nights we were on first, and the folk group was on after, and the second night, the folk we did alternative nights.
Yeah.
And that folk group was the Furies and Davy Arthur, who had just, Finbar and Eddie had come back from Germany, and they just linked up with the buskers, as they were called. That was Paul, George and Davy, and they put the group together, the Furies and Davy Arthur.
Wow.
And we became friends, and the day after the gigs, we did our 2 gigs, we have to say that our joint shows stole the attention of the festival, as you can imagine. And we were meeting to get paid the day after the gigs. And of course, we all brought our instruments, and we busked outside the office after we got paid. Wow. And little did I think I would ever meet the lads again. And they went on their way, and they recorded. This was at the start of the band, and I still think it's one of the finest folk albums ever recorded and released in Ireland, is the Greenfields of France album.
Amazing.
As an album, it is an absolute masterpiece. I just love it. I bought, didn't I get you a copy on vinyl?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
Of what, and who's singing on it?
Finn
and Eddie.
Eddie.
And Gail.
Gail.
And all the lads. And it's just an absolute wonderful piece of work. But I went on my merry way, as Robin Hood once said, and I was in Holland, and things were going very good for me. And at this stage, I was dressed with all like the leather gear, because I was a rock and roll, you know, kind of leather jeans, leather jacket, and everything else. And I was in this canteen in the Hilversum, in the main radio TV thing. Next thing, I was in queue getting my bit of lunch, and next thing I heard, "Woo, woo! Look at your man! Look at your man!" And I was going, "What the hell?" It was the Furies were in for a show. Next thing, "Look at your man! Look at the rocker! He comes from nothing." And that was our first connection again, you know. And then it was like Ballyfermot, you see, came into our lives. Then I was with RCA Records in London, and I went to Switzerland writing some songs, and to visit Mona, who became my wife. And I met a great friend of mine there who became a lifelong friend, a man by the name of Sam Seal. And Sam, I was writing songs I had a little keyboard, and and it was great for me because I didn't speak French. I do now a little bit after a few wines, but not very good. But Valde, you know, and I played Sam a song on the little keyboard, and it was a slow ballad. And we were at a party about maybe a week or 2 weeks later, and there was a bit of a sing-song, and Sam asked me to play the song. And I said, "No, Sam, I don't know it." And he said, come on. And I'd never played it on the guitar. And Sam said, "Just come on, just play it." So I kind of was trying to think of course, after having a few drinks and everything, you know, what kind of, you know. And next thing, how many times can a heart fall in love? How many seasons can it change? Open a door and let your feelings show. You sing with me, what? Take time to find love's ways. Side by side, side by side, to the edge of time. Our two hearts will find a way. Two hearts will find a way. And on the song went. But at the party, one of the guys from the record company was there, and he came over, and when I got to the chorus and I was going side by side, and I could almost hear the backing vocals, and I went, Sam, can you organise them? Can you just go side by side? Give me an answer back. The guy from the record company came over, tapped me on the shoulder, and he said, Francie, I want to see you in the office at 11 o'clock on Monday. Bring the guitar. I want you to play the song for everybody in the office. Brilliant. And I did. Recording sessions were booked. Some of the creme de la creme of the musicians. And then they got the group Smokey to come in to do the side by side. I mean, they had just done the backing vocals on Agnetta's album from ABBA. And next thing, I was in their studio in Bradford recording this song that might never have been heard, only for Sam. Come on, Francie, will you play that? You know, and Sam comes from Spiddle Road. And we were friends all our lives. But even like a little thing like that, you know, the twist of fate. And Sam was very proud Ballyfermot man, and always mentioned Ballyfermot. Like people would say, "Where are you from?" to Sam, Ballyfermot. It wasn't Dublin, it wasn't Ireland. They'd go, "Sorry," you know, and then he'd say it with a kind of a Ballyfermot, with a French accent. And people would be thinking like it's down by the seaside or something. Do you know what I mean? Oh, Savon, you know. And so I mean, like Ballyfermot was always there. And then when I was living in Amsterdam, I became friends with another man, Pierce O'Byrne. He ended up in New York, I think. But Pierce was a great man in Amsterdam because he was bringing, there wasn't many Irish living there. It was very different than it is now. But he was a great man for his interest in Irish culture, in poetry and literature and song. And Pierce was giving, like, he was like an encyclopedia of information. And he was from Ballyfermot. So suddenly it was like these mad guys I'd met down in Tralee, Sam becoming so much part of my life, then we having To the Edge of Time was released and it became a huge hit all over Europe. It was like done in French and Italian and done in many different languages. And the song is still floating around. Only, was it 2 weeks ago, there was a thing coming in from, I think it was California, I forget what part, but it was getting radio play. It keeps just moving, you know. And Pierce then, he was leaving Amsterdam, and one of my trademarks became like playing 12-string guitar. The sound you can't, you know, it's a different monster than playing a 6-string guitar. And it was Pierce O'Byrne in Amsterdam that got me into playing 12-string guitar. And again, the Ballyfermot link. And then I came back to live in Ireland after my daughter was born. And I was very happy to come back here. And then I got a call to say that folk group that I had met when I was a kid, who had distinguished themselves with an amazing career, the Furies and Davy Arthur, and that they wanted to record one of my songs. And they were inviting me to the studio. And the song was Somewhere in heaven there's a place for us. No war or hunger, no pain or hurt, no religious fighting,
no borders to control.
Yeah. Somewhere in heaven there's a place. There's a place for us. Somewhere in heaven
there will be time for us.
You take it, you're on.
To spend our days on the dreams we lost. To walk together with no fear of being apart. Somewhere in heaven a friend waits. A friend waits for us.
Well done, Rory.
Oh, absolutely amazing.
And so then I got to meet, I ended up going to the recording session in Windmill Lane, and I ended up playing some guitar with the lads, and I ended up playing some keys and different things with the lads, and then lo and behold I ended up joining the band. Yeah, and it's like, I mean I don't know why they wanted a rocker in the band, because I mean, like, I didn't know anything about folk music, you know. And so, I mean, I would call it like a baptism of fire. I remember the first time the lads played me some tunes, and I mean, you know, one time Paul Lord Emerson and Paul Fury and we used to share actually hotel rooms on the road. And I remember Paul was asked, like, why did he play so fast? And he said, because I can. And he certainly could, you know. And I mean, all these tunes, I mean, like, it's like, you know, when you go into an Indian restaurant or a Chinese restaurant and the music is on the background and you can't really identify the tunes because our ears aren't really kind of tuned into it. But when I joined the lads and they were playing all this incredible music, these tunes, jigs and reels and all this stuff, I mean, they all sounded at the start to me, they all sounded the same. And then I started, I mean, so what a way to actually learn about, you know, traditional music through a family like that, you know. And in so many ways, like, the lads became the brothers I never had, you know. We became lifelong friends, we still are. I mean, sadly, Paul passed away, you know, and it's wonderful that George and Eddie kept the band going, and the band is doing better than ever, you know, with the touring, and the lineup is fantastic. And Finbar and I ended up playing together for years and touring together and all that, and the friendships were, you know, again, that Ballyfermot link, you know. And then, like, with Ballyfermot, when I came back to live in Ireland around the same time with meeting up with the lads, the Arts Council were putting a programme together, the first rock music course in Europe. So Keith Donald from Moving Hearts was the popular arts officer at the time. So they basically hand-selected a group of people that had expertise, what would they call it, or success from the different fields. So they had Matt Callaghan from Moving Hearts, they had the great Hugh Buckley, the great jazz guitarist, and they had Tommy Moore, the bass player. Of course, Tommy would be, I suppose, you know, one of his flagships would have been the Flag Cowboys, but also he played with Paul Brady's on his album Hard Station, which was quite an iconic Irish album to be part of. So they brought in an incredible group of people into Ballyfermot to start up this programme. And I remember saying, like, well, kind of, I'm not that much into education, but I'll go along until you find somebody. And then I suddenly kind of started to love coming over to Ballyfermot. I mean, you know, some of the songwriters and the musicians that have come through Ballyfermot, from Damien Dempsey to Mundy to Wallace Bird to Lisa O'Neill. I mean, the list of musicians from Damien Rice's band, Cry Monster Cry. I mean, the list is just endless that came through Ballyfermot. And then the friendships that I made through coming over here from the local scene, from the lads from the Beer Mats, to Paddy Sweeney, to Pat O'Cullen. I mean, great voices. And of course, Tom O'Murdoch was always part of our team. Yes. And then of course, Tom Phelan, I think you might have heard of him. I mean, and then Tom and I, our relationship kind of grew over the years because we ended up meeting in different places. Yes. And I remember one night, Finn and I coming back from a gig we were in Galway, I think it was, and we had played in a place called the Black Box. And Finn and I were dying for a pint, just to kind of settle, you know, because your adrenaline is going after a gig. And we were just on the way into the hotel that we were staying, and who did we meet? We met Tom, and he had some people with him. So he joined us, and we went in and we ended up sitting at a table, and now we'd already been playing a full concert. And next thing, the instruments came out again because of Tom being there, and another big session. Do you know what I mean? And then, of course, like, I suppose, when I think of the college, and you think about Ballyfermot, I mean, you have to think of Fiach Moriarty, you know, and Fiach possibly wrote, I would think, one of the greatest songs for the 1916 centenary. And Fiach wrote the song called Mount Street Bridge. And any of you who haven't heard the song, I would strongly advise to listen to it, because it was a very brave song to write. And Fiach wrote the song from the point of view of a British soldier arriving in Ireland and heading in towards town for the ambush and being ambushed at Mount Street Bridge. It's an amazing song. And then, of course, who else would I, from here, that would have made a big impression on us is Declan O'Rourke, of course. I mean, not only as being like that beautiful low baritone type voice and the beautiful songs he's been writing, and now this research he did into the famine and these wonderful novels. Now it's like the first novel, I mean, I can still feel I had a chill on me when I was reading it, because he was able to captivate the house, you know, how cold it was, how grey things were, how difficult it was for people, you know, and he's captivated that to an incredible way. So in Ballyfermot, it just keeps coming around in my life, you know what I mean? And what I love is when I walk down Ballyfermot, you'll always hear, "Oi, Francie, how's it going, Conway? What are you doing over here today? Are we going down to Downey's? Are we going to Chasers?" I mean, come on, it's like, and then now, I mean, even the plot thickens. In the last couple of years, I mean, we're talking about all these incredible students, and now you have over here you have the family centre over here by the swimming pool. And I mean, family base, and like the resources that they are doing and what they're doing for people. And one of the guys who's running it is James Peppard, and he's one of our guys from the college. He's an incredible multi-instrumentalist. Yes. And I mean, you know, and James ended up playing with me, because I wrote a song, and I suppose it was kind of like, how would I say, George Harrison wrote My Sweet Lord, you know, and which was a beautiful song from the heart. And I mean, my feeling on George Harrison was that he was one of the greatest humanitarians that ever lived. Besides of all the music, he was an incredible humanitarian, and that's a wonderful thing to be able to say, you know. And I wanted to write saying like that, you know, that our sweet Lord, that he wrote it, that was his gift, but our gift was from getting George Harrison. So I started to write the song kind of a little bit. Our sweet Lord gave you a gift, one you gave to us, our sweet Lord. Guess you wouldn't have a clue who I am, one of the many who followed in your footsteps, filling a void full of hope, always a shoulder to lean on. When times got tough, you were always there, even though only in the shadows, your words reflecting all around. Something in the way you told us, our sweet Lord gave you a gift, one you gave to us, our sweet Lord. So you get the whole gist of it, the way that the Lord gave George something, and George passed it on to us, and you know, so it's that the whole web. And I brought James in playing sitar on this track. Nice. And we ended up playing for India Day, we ended up playing in Farmley, and we ended up on this journey because of our sweet Lord. And now we're at a stage where it's developed into a full album.
Wow.
And we're actually rehearsing the album with Matt Kelligan, one of the co-founders of the rock school here in Ballyfermot, the drummer from Moving Hearts, possibly one of the greatest drummers in the country. And we're actually doing all the pre-production in family base here in Ballyfermot.
Wow.
So how cool is that?
Brilliant.
So I mean, when you think about the web of Ballyfermot,
Yes.
it's been some web, isn't it?
Oh God. And then you have Conway College and Jerry Flanagan.
Yeah, Jor's great. Yeah, Jor's great. He's been linking up with us for loads of different events and stuff, you know.
And tell me, Francie, when the rock school was up and running, did anyone else want to mirror image that school?
Well, I mean, you have now. I mean, we were the first. I mean, we were one of the first in Europe. And then I remember when they came over from LIPA, the Liverpool Institute of Popular Arts. And I mean, they were funded, they had big funding from the British government and Paul McCartney. They spent a week with us just to see how we were doing it. And now you have lots of colleges all over Dublin that have kind of private colleges, public colleges who've imaged what we started. In the country, you have them all over different parts of Ireland as well. And there's many in Europe. And I mean, and like we would be, Ballyfermot would be linked with the university in Hammelburg in Mannheim in Germany.
Wow.
You know, and I mean, since its start, I mean, I would have done workshops and given lectures in Sweden and in Holland and in Germany and in England on songwriting and stuff, and because there's an appetite for it, and it all again came from this little place here, Ballyfermot.
Brilliant. And just to mention your friend Sam Sale, may he rest in peace. We were here tonight. You actually honoured him.
That was magic when.
And it was because of you that his, you know.
Yeah.
People, you still hear people asking, you know, when they're passing his picture, who's that man? Sam Sale.
That's right. Well, you see, I mean, he made his reputation abroad.
Yeah, well, it was because of you that he was honoured.
You know, and I mean, as I said, he always loved the Ballyfermot link. Spittle Road. His mum still lives up there, and all his family are around. And I mean, his wife was only over with us. What's her name?
Katia
and Monique. Monique is his wife, and she was only over with us a couple of weeks ago. You know, so. So, and I think the best way to finish off this, would be to do a brand new song. Will we do another new song?
Yeah.
Would you like that?
We'd love that. Just before you finish, I just want to say on behalf of myself and Sean and Ballyfermot Heritage, thanks very much for taking your time to talk to us today. And
Well,
you know, it's great. It's great for us to be sitting among stars.
Well, I have to be honest, I mean, I was quite chuffed when I got the invitation, because Ballyfermot is a special place for me. It's a special place. It always has been. It's been webbed through my life in so many ways with so many people, and it's so. And I was just chuffed when you asked me to know would I come and talk about it, because, you know, I mean, I've been to many places all over the world.
Yes.
Would I go back? Slim chances. As Rory says everywhere I say, I've been so. Oh, I was there.
Only for gigs, like.
Only for gigs. In other words, like.
Only for the gigs,
in other words, his dad went into the hotel at lunchtime, sound check in the afternoon, gig, and gone. Oh, I was there. Next thing the voice comes in, only for a gig. So. But Ballyfermot was more, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You know.
Thanks so much. I mean, we could talk to you all day, but you know, we really appreciate you.
Well, thank you. This is a new song that, I mean, I have to put on the glasses so as to be able to read the lyrics. And, you know, and it's kind of, I suppose, many of your listeners and people would realise there's been so many songs written about Dublin.
Yes.
And I wanted to write a song about Dublin, but I couldn't find the angle. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't find the way in. I mean, Pete wrote some wonderful songs. You know, there's some gorgeous songs written. You know, lovely stories about Dublin. But I couldn't find an angle. And then one day, this fella and I were coming out, we were walking around Marley Park, and one of my favourite places to go is something that looks out over Dublin. And that's the Hellfire Club.
Yes.
And I was looking at the Hellfire Club and I thought,
that could be a song.
That could be a song. That could be my angle. That could be my angle. So we're going to record this with Matt and with James and with all the gang. So, but we might as well give you the first listen. Do you want the first listen?
Yeah.
We got a light shining all around us, a new path to guide us on our way, with a cool breeze gently blowing. The future is ours, we can shape it anyway. With you at the Hellfire Club, we can see the future. In the shade of the Hellfire Club, we're gonna live it up. From these streets our nation grew, unknown sacrifices only told to a few. How women and children carried such pain, supporting loved ones, the dreamers, the brave. With you at the Hellfire Club, we can see the future. In the shade of the Hellfire Club, we're gonna live it up. Eternal words rise from the shadows, visionaries of a time to be told. Being Joyce and wild breed inside us, shining a light on the everyday. Sounds ring out around every corner, we can hear them everywhere we go. Ronnie, Philo and Christy etched in our hearts, captivating our soul as to who we are. With you at the Hellfire Club, we can see the future. In the shade of the Hellfire Club, we're gonna live it up. From here we can all see so clearly, a vision from the old to the new is so important. Now fades with the morning dew.
With you at the Hellfire Club, you can see the future.
Yeah, nice one, Rory. You sing it. Come on, man.
In the shade of the Hellfire Club, we're gonna live it up. Gonna live it up.
In Dublin's fair city, where the girls are so pretty, I first set my eyes on sweet Molly Malone. Gonna live it up. Gonna live it up.